Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our entitled parents. In today's episode, reading my bank letters. I think my mom is jealous of me. Have you lost empathy for your parents? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Reading my bank letters. I'm so mad right now. A few weeks ago, I took out a loan at the bank for a new apartment and my driver's license. Today, I went over to my mother's place because I needed to print something. First thing I get greeted with is, "What's wrong in your life?" Shocked. Why do you need a loan? I didn't plan on ever telling her about this because she's really bad with money and I didn't want the stress. Well, the bank messed up and sent my papers to her address. My name front and center. She opened, saw it's not hers, and read through the entire thing. I texted my sister to vent, and she told me that she always does this crap. Anytime there's an important letter for any of us ending up at her place, she just opens and reads them. I wish I had the guts to yell at her. This is so rude and illegal. You have a legal case against the bank. I would think you should go and do what other people have suggested at the bank. Did the bank have your new address? Should rip them a new one along with your mother for that illegal act. If you are in the US, let mom know that the next time she opens any mail that is not yours, you will seriously think about letting the post office know, since they take opening someone else's mail seriously. Before that, look up the penalties for opening other people's mail and print it out, make a few copies, and hand it to her. Then ask her if she is okay with the consequences, since the next time you will be using that law. I'd be causing a ruckus at that bank if I were you. They messed up real bad. I think my mom is jealous of me. I in no means think I live an extraordinary life. However, with the childhood I got and with my abusive parents, I think I turned out pretty great. I, 20F, am a pre-med student at the best university in the country. I manage full-time school with a casual part-time job, volunteering, on-campus extracurriculars, and do research on campus. I'm part of a lab. When you take a step back, most people at my school do more or less the same thing. As a result, I'm stressed, depressed, and barely managing balancing a social life because of the competitive environment, though I try my best. My mom, she was engaged at 19, I believe married at 20, had me at 21. Back home, she went to college for psychology. Honestly, I always thought that was pretty impressive, but she cut her studies short because she wanted to marry a man who would handle the money. I'm my dad, which I respect. They ended up migrating to the West. She ended up needing to work anyways and works a monotonous white-collar job now. I would like to add, my mom is gorgeous. People tell her that openly, men and women. At some point, she was built like a Victoria's Secret model. She cooks, I barely eat out, and she works full-time. My mom, in other words, is Superwoman. Though in the sense of being a mother, when it comes to encouragement and love, my mom has never really been one. She brings in money, and she cooks, and I have always had a roof over my head, for which I am so very grateful. But she's a horrible person. To strangers, she's great, but to me, honestly, my babysitter growing up was more of a mother figure. To sum up my childhood, she bullied me about my weight starting from age 6, though I suspect it took an eating disorder to get to her size. She's bullied me about my appearance in general, putting significant stress on this, far more than my academics. If I would get a gift, say a dress or sweater, from a friend or family and it's a size too big, instead of alteration, she'd just take it. She'd buy me shirts just to take them and say, "Never mind, they look better on me." I had an anorexic friend in middle school, and she would constantly compare me to her, saying, "Why can't you be pretty like her?" Didn't want to tell people her daughter was in a manly field like engineering, and backed me into the medical career path, not caring about the fact that Canada has the hardest med school admissions in the world. Now, my current life with my mom. I go to the hardest, most academically rigid school in the country for pre-med. I range comfortably from low 80s, low 90s. This term I got only 80s. She questioned me about my horrible grades. My mom couldn't even tell you the courses I was taking or the grading scale my university uses. I truly do not understand why she cares so much about the end result and not nearly as invested in the process. Now the part that bothers me the most, that is affecting my mental health the most. My mom equates all the stuff I am doing for medical school, as mentioned in the beginning, school, work, etc., to be my social time. I was able to snag a highly coveted on-campus job, and my mom will roll her eyes when I inform her I won't be home immediately after class because I have a shit that day. She's obsessive about me coming home immediately after my classes end. I have extracurriculars, lab meetings, work shifts, and so I am on campus a lot. I don't even study on campus though. I've made my room a spectacular place for me to study. But my mom will roll her eyes if I need to meet the professor who runs my lab, or if I need to go in for work. Make comments about how I'm out too much. Then when I mention acute social plans, these happen once in a blue moon because no one here has the time. She will say, "Why? You've had enough socializing." I am 20 years old. I am projected to buy my own car soon. But she will tell me I am not allowed to go visit a cutesy little cafe with my friends after I'm done with class. I remember there was a huge themed pub night on campus once. She knew way in advance, and honestly work was an excuse for me to go, to film some shots of the event. Everyone I knew was basically going. I got all dressed and everything, and my mom looked me up and down and said, "You know what, aren't you tired? Don't go." And it wasn't out of, "You must be so tired, my amazing studious girl." It was literally, "I do not want you to go." I mean, I went obviously. But it wasn't until recently that I figured maybe she was just jealous. She got married way too young. Even my grandparents, her own parents, think she should have continued her education, regardless of her marriage or not. But I felt recently that she says these things out of spite and jealousy because of what she missed out on marrying my dad. You don't need her permission, and her guilt tactics only work because you are allowing yourself to be manipulated. See if your school has mental health counseling and talk to someone. You need to learn how to stand up for yourself and stop being her victim. Talking with a therapist will help you develop strategies to get out from under this toxic woman and get a spine. Thank you. I think I need to hear that. She's clearly so toxic, I get it. She's your mother and it hurts. She's supposed to love you. You want to love her. I had my mom laugh at me for self-harming when I was a preteen. I had her sit there and scroll on her phone while I cried and begged her to help me when I was desperate and down in high school. This cycle won't change. You're amazing. You're doing so well for yourself. You should be so proud of you, sweetheart. Any good mother would be so proud if they had a kid as nice as you, but sometimes you need to let go. She clearly doesn't care for you. She's not just entitled, she's narcissistic, and she'll always try and make herself feel better at your expense. Do what's right for you and your mental health. Is this relationship really doing any good for you? You got this though. I'm sure you'll do great in school, and I sincerely wish you luck. You need a new place to live. I think you're right about her being jealous. She's young enough to go back to school. My friend went back to college and became a child therapist at 55. I have a friend whose mom just went back to school recently too. Instances like that give so much hope. If my mom was rational, I would suggest this too. Her older sister has a master only because she decided to go back to school when she was well into her 30s. Start creating an exit plan. You do not need her permission to live your own life. You're an adult. You are smart and capable. Stop letting her toxicity ruin you. This woman gave a 6-year-old an eating disorder. Protect yourself and get out of her control. Have you lost empathy for your parents? As recent as 2 years ago, the prospect of my mom being sad would literally drive me into a puddle of tears. But after a series of unwarranted put-downs and smear campaigns, I finally began to see her for what she truly is, a malignant covert narcissist who is devoid of all empathy and love. She is the source of my misery, and after several failed attempts to make her realize how badly she's hurting me, I realized that she isn't even capable of giving a shit. So why should I give a shit? Last week, my mom fell and hit her face on the pavement while walking home. She came through the door sobbing hysterically like a child for hours. Just 2 years ago, I would have been crying right there with her, but after decades of relentless, sadistic covert abuse, I couldn't bring myself to feel anything. I still checked her for cuts and bruises. There were none. But I didn't really care that she was hurt. The main reason she was crying was because she was embarrassed anyways. She screamed out, "I can't believe I fell in front of 3 entire people." While she was sobbing, I thought to myself, the pain of you falling is nothing compared to the psychological torture you forced me to put up with for 2.5 decades. You'll shake it off. I may never get over how you treated me / how you continue to treat me. The pain of the women who depresses me to the point of having suicidal ideations has zero effect on me anymore. I may sound like a piece of shit, but it's true. When she attempts to guilt trip me, I feel nothing. When she cries about me avoiding speaking to her, I feel nothing. And when she finally passes away, the only emotions I'll feel are bliss and relief that the person who spent a quarter century destroying my mental health is finally gone. In the last couple years, I finally lost my fear of my dad's reactions and started using the exact same dismissive phrases he used to tell me when I was younger. I guess he didn't like being on the receiving end of those words because he's largely stopped talking to me. That's the funny part. They dish out tons of damage over the years, yet they can't even take a fraction of what they dish out. In my mind, that right there confirms that narcs know exactly what they're doing, even though they might seem to genuinely lack self-awareness. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. In front of 3 entire people. At least it wasn't 3.5. I cut all my ties with both sides of my family and emigrated. And a few years ago, I received a letter from the consulate telling me that my father had died and to contact one of my brothers for the inheritance. I only have one brother, and his father is my stepfather. And I only have sisters on my remarried bio-father's side. I never knew if it was my bio-father or stepfather who died, and never answered, neither contacted anyone. I couldn't care less. Neither about the inheritance. I feel nothing and want nothing to do with all these people. Wow. Being raised by this person must have been pretty awful for you. As long as you have empathy in your heart for others you feel deserve it, you're good. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.